Welcome to another edition of the Box Office Dynasty. Who else would it be with you on this fine day than me, Josh?
And me, Jack.
And that probably wasn't even proper grammar, but whatever. Anyway, we're happy to be with you. How's things going, Jack?
Things are going good, man. We're not fucking English teachers or anything, so we can talk wherever we want.
No, this is we're making a podcast, not a poem, we're not trying to win a Pulitzer Prize or something.
We're not too profesh over here.
Yeah, I think that's abundantly clear to whoever's still tuned in by this point.
How you doing over there?
Pretty good. I'm rocking the Devils jersey because right now we're in the middle of the Winter Olympics, as we all know, in Milan Cortina, and big win just before for Team USA men's hockey, 2-1 in overtime against Sweden. What the fuck is a Swedish meatball? Am I right? So feeling good. Everyone always says, "What the fuck is a kilometer?" And that's old. That's worn out. We played Sweden. We beat Sweden. What the fuck is a Swedish meatball? Fuck IKEA. Let's fucking go, baby.
Isn't that
feeling
so
good.
strange when you think about it? They're like a furniture store that has food, and it's not just food. It's like specifically meatballs.
Well, no, they have other food too. It's just they're known for the.
Oh, really?
Swedish...
I don't even know if I've ever stepped foot inside of an IKEA. So.
No way. We definitely did
so.
A long time ago. In college, I think we did.
We did? I don't remember.
I mean, I've been to one a few times. I don't even blame them for having food courts because they're just so vast, these IKEAs. There's so much space, you get lost in them. Genuinely, they're designed for you to never leave. It's like a saw trap.
Escape room?
It's an escape room or like a Jigsaw playing a game with you. So
Swedish Jigsaw?
Yeah, really. It's fucking midsummer in there. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
It's cool to be able to like stop on your way to finding your freedom and get a couple of Swedish meatballs, but
are they
not
free?
Today.
Like free?
No, you definitely have to pay, but it's not.
I thought they were like free samples or something.
No, I know how much you want free things in life.
I wish everything was free.
I do too, man. Right, but. No, sadly, you have to pay for the Swedish meatballs, and that's why we had to show them, reassert our dominance, and let Freebird play on. So yeah, that was hype. That was a good time. Everyone check out the Olympics. They're still going on until Sunday. Obviously rooting for Team USA. So that was a good time. But we got a great episode here today as well. We're gonna in a little bit pay some tribute to the great Robert Duvall, of course. We're gonna pick a new Bible study film. We're gonna go over some box office numbers. We're gonna review a couple of new movies out in theaters. Give an update on the Warner Brothers saga going on, and at the end, Jack's got a little game for us to play today. So it is jam-packed right here in the middle of award season. We don't really have anything for award season this week, but still, it's a crazy time of year.
Yeah.
So, why don't we just get the show on the road? I'm going to give you a couple of news nuggets here before we get into the rest of the episode. My first one is that Apple has officially acquired the Severance IP from its smaller production company, Fifth Season. Season 2 of... So basically, this just gives them like total control now over the creative side of Severance.
I really thought they had it the whole time.
They're like partnered. I mean, it's like when you watch any show or movie, you see like the big distributor, and then you see these other companies, and with their logos. Those are like the production companies that are part of the day to day. Apple will now retain complete control of the creative IP. Season 2 of Severance, at the time of its release, became the most watched show on Apple and was the most nominated show at the 2025 Emmys with 27 nominations and 8 wins. Season 3 is looking to start filming this summer with a current 4-season plan that's not locked into place, but that seems to be the reports. Also, Apple is hoping for spinoffs in this franchise. So they're really looking, now that they have this entirely under their umbrella, to blow this whole franchise wide open and make it a huge thing. So for fans of Severance like myself out there looking for an update, we're 1 year out from season 2's release last year, 1 year removed, I should say. And that is the news. So hopefully we'll get season 3 soon.
Wait, season 2 came out a year ago. Is season 3 filming or done filming or anything? Or
no, season 3 is expected to film this summer. I mean, we know how this stuff goes with prestige streaming television.
That's a break. That is a Large break.
It's like Stranger Things or what, a lot of other shows. I mean, House of the Dragon had a couple years in between season 1 and 2, I think. Like, that's just the nature of the business these days. We're rarely getting stuff like Abbott Elementary or The Pit, where you're getting longer seasons, episodic, yearly releases. So, I know we're bracing in for a long wait here, Severance fans, but, fret not. More is on the horizon. We'll return to Lumen soon. So that's what's going on there. My second news nugget will be a little more interesting to you, although you should watch Severance, really should.
It's on my list.
Stellan Skarsgård, who is actually currently nominated, as we know, for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars, was offered and turned down the role of Christopher Dent in The Batman Part 2, making him the second notable actor to turn down this role, the first being Brad Pitt. That's disappointing because Stellan Skarsgård, I think, especially like now that we know Sebastian Stan is playing Harvey Dent, I think that would have been such an interesting dynamic. I think he would have fit into this universe well. It's interesting. I don't know why people are turning this down.
So that's Harvey Dent's dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird also because it doesn't seem like that much of a commitment. I know it's a comic book movie, but I mean, his dad would be in probably a couple minutes of one movie. He wouldn't show up again. I mean,
I doubt that though.
Couple flashbacks.
I doubt that. Not if they're asking guys like Pitt and Skarsgård. I mean, they're asking pretty big names to just do a couple minutes.
But yeah, but maybe that's why they're asking these high, because I don't know, can they afford to, are they really willing to pay Brad Pitt to be like a main character, not a main character, but like just a side character for multiple movies?
Maybe. Or even just the one movie, who knows? But, we don't know enough about what the story is looking like yet to even be able to speculate what the role is going to be, like the size of the role in the film.
Yeah, and Two-Face is kind of a character that I haven't read up much on too much. Mm-hmm. I haven't read too many DC comics, but I don't know how involved his dad is in his origin. Like, I don't know what happens to his father. So maybe he is relevant to his adult life as well, but I'm assuming it'd just be flashbacks, but I genuinely have no idea.
Right, I don't know either. And I mean, Skarsgård is a bit on the older side, obviously, so I would think that present day.
Right, but then you have Brad Pitt, and
present day, like 60s, right? Like,
yeah,
he's
would he be Sebastian
looks great
Stan's
for his
dad?
They'd have to age him up, but I mean,
well, that's really
at least I think that was the role Brad Pitt turned down. I know he turned down a role. I'm pretty sure it was Christopher Dent.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So that means we can kind of expect a more higher profile actor to possibly be cast as this role. It seems like that's what they're searching for. So
right,
which would be really cool.
We'll learn more hopefully soon enough about someone who will take the role. But yeah, I mean, right now people are, and the first Batman movie is great, and I heard this script's great, but it's interesting to see a couple of big names turn it down, pass it on. So
yeah,
we'll see where that goes. I know Emma Stone also turn down the movie before Scarlett Johansson took it. So
I didn't hear that part.
I'm pretty sure that was something too. So people are not biting on this.
Stellan and Emma Stone have their time in their comic book movies. Maybe they want to not go back into that. I don't know.
We're certainly naming actors who don't need it, right? This film. I mean, that's not to say that we don't want to see it as fans, but from a career perspective, it's not like they should feel obliged. They can, like people like Emma Stone and Stellan Skarsgård and Brad Pitt, they can pick and choose their own projects that they want to be a part of.
Right, and they've besides Brad Pitt, I mean, they've done the genre before, so they don't like, even if you're like,
Pitt, we talked about this with the game last week, Pitt technically, but they've like Skarsgård and Stone have extensively done this kind of
multiple
film
movies as the same character from a comic book. So I get turning it down regardless.
Right. I mean, they just might be at different parts of their career right now in terms of that. So that's all I got on the news nugget section as we get this episode started. Why don't we move on? And, it really does feel like every week lately that someone very notable in the industry has unfortunately left us. I mean, the Oscar in Memoriam this year is going to need its own show.
Hours long, dude.
It's going to need its own show. It's crazy. But unfortunately, the late, great Robert Duvall, we lost him. He passed away on Monday at the age of 95. So, I mean, he was just a kid,
He was up there. Just a kid, bro.
Duvall, man, one of the greatest character actors that ever lived. Um, just a quick to give you an idea of his resume and everyone at home. He was known for legendary outings and really some of the greatest films of all time. Obviously, I think most people would know him as the character Tom Hagen in The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. He was also in Apocalypse Now, To Kill a Mockingbird, MASH, True Grit, The Great Santini, Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise, The 7% Solution, THX 1138, which was a George Lucas film. He did The Judge with Robert Downey Jr. I mean, he's just done so much incredible work. He won an Academy Award for his role in the film Tender Mercies, alongside 7 total nominations. He also won 2 Emmys, 4 Golden Globes, a BAFTA, and a SAG Award. He was a very well-accomplished actor.
Highly decorated.
That's a great way to put it. He was highly decorated, and yeah, I mean, like I said, he is one of the biggest film stars of the '70s, and that he curated a career that really it spanned 8 decades. I mean, his last role was in the film Hustle with Adam Sandler a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, the basketball movie.
The basketball movie on Netflix. So he has really dived in, and 8 decades is a long time, and for him to be working pretty much right up to the end. And like I said, he had lead roles. Obviously, Tender Mercies, he won as a lead actor in that film. But myself and a lot of people will really remember Duvall for, like I said, his character work, just the way that he got lost into the characters and the scenes, elevated his scene partners around him, bringing the best out of them. I mean, this guy was an absolute icon. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. One of the last remaining main cast members of The Godfather 2. 2 as in comma 2.
What was he in the second one?
He was in the second one.
So there you go.
But I was trying to say, in The Godfather, pause 2.
As well.
Also. This is a tough loss, man. I know I don't think you're super familiar with Duvall. I don't know
not
if you've
even in the
seen
slightest
anything of his or even heard of him before, but
I think the name sounds familiar, but whatever.
And Robert Duvall sounds familiar. Man, what an incredible actor. What an even better person and career that he had. He's going to be just so missed. I mean, and again, he's 95. It's not like, some of these other losses we've dealt with recently where you're like, whoa, but
yeah,
like there's no surprise. He's lived a long, incredibly accomplished life. But he leaves behind one of the best filmographies you'll ever see from an actor, So Robert Duvall, I'll leave it at that, I guess. But my favorite, I mean, I guess it's got to be The Godfather. I loved him in Apocalypse Now, though. He is so
I've seen that
menacing in that film. You've seen Apocalypse Now?
Is he Kurtz?
He is. I'll tell you right now.
He's not. Obviously, I know Martin Sheen, but is he the villain?
Yeah, he's the colonel. No, he's not. That's Marlon Brando. He's the lieutenant colonel.
I don't.
Bill Kilgore. I forget their names sometimes with that one. Bill Kilgore.
All I know is Kurtz from that.
But he is really good in that film. Jack, have you ever watched The Godfather?
No. Never seen any of them.
That's insane.
Yeah, I know.
You should not. You should do that as soon as you can. Really.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the third Godfather because there was a disagreement with Francis Ford Coppola at the time, and I mean, his character Tom Hagen is notably missed in that film.
Would you say that is part of the reason why the third one is widely regarded as the least best one?
It certainly is one of the reasons, yes.
Okay.
The lack, I mean, he is a very important character in that story, his relationship to the Corleone family. He kind of is like their lawyer, so to speak. So he plays such a massive role in their, crime ring and the mafia ring that the Corleones have built over the course of the years that The Godfather chronicles. And he's just so incredible. And like I said, he's a character actor, so his job was really to elevate a lot of his scene partners, and I think he'll go down widely considered as one of, if not the best one to ever do that kind of performing. So it was more than appropriate, in my opinion, to take a minute and pay our respects. Robert Duvall, we will miss you, sir. You were incredible, just
R.I.P.
remarkable. So that is that. Why don't we move on and pick a new Bible study film?
Guess who doesn't have their book with them right now? So I will return, folks.
Okay. You guys believe you hadn't seen The Godfather? Crazy, crazy stuff, right? You know, who hasn't seen The Godfather? One of the greatest films of all time. Oh boy, what is Jack eyeing me down? What's going to happen after we're done recording?
I'll watch that after this episode.
Are
I'll
you?
be watching
Are you?
that.
No, you don't have to. It's fine. It's
I'll
fine.
find out. I'll find out after we post it.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
I was giving out state secrets.
Oh shit, dude.
So.
All right. I'll let you explain this one. I did the last one. You got this.
Well, I do so much talking. Okay, that's fine. No. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Like you don't like fucking talking, dude.
I could yap forever, dude. So
yeah, we know. Yeah, go silent.
I just won't say anything.
Yeah,
okay,
boycott.
So boycott. The Bible study. This is our film Bible, the one that Jack had to go retrieve. It is the New York Times Book of Movies, Essential 1,000 Films to See, selected by Manola Dargy and A.O. Scott. And what we do is we have you, the wonderful people at home, comment numbers on our episodes, on our clips, anywhere that you can get the number between 23 and 1265. And then we pick a random number, which we will do in a moment. Jack
Lots
has
of
the
numbers.
Wheel. What's that fitness notification there?
It's telling me I'm a lazy fuck sitting around doing nothing.
And the film that correlates to the number that we pick, we watch, and in 2 episodes, count them 2 episodes, we will review said film. Last episode, we watched Amores Perros, and now we're going to pick a new one.
Yeah, here we go. The wheel has been spun.
Let the wheel speak.
Whoa, interesting.
What's going on over there, Jack?
Okay.
Jeez.
Okay. The number that has been chosen, thank you to whoever put number 42.
Why do we always get these like early numbers?
It almost landed on 23.
That would have been crazy. I didn't even know we had 23 in the circulation.
Yeah, we do. It literally almost landed on that. That's why I said, ooh.
Okay. That is fun. Yeah, you
Number 42. Thank you to whoever commented that. That means we are watching All About Eve, which was a movie that came out in 1950. So whoever commented 42, thank you so much. We're watching All About Eve.
This is going to be the 4th film that we have picked that I will be rewatching.
Really? That's there's 1,000 movies in there.
We've watched 13 films so far. Yeah. Of those 13, I had seen 3 of them before: Get Out, Being John Malkovich, and M. I have seen All About Eve. I think it's a fantastic movie.
Okay.
It stars the great Bette Davis and Anne Baxter, and basically it's about this woman who is like really obsessed and idolizing this big famous actress, and she basically like weasels her way into her life. Like, that's the best way that I can kind of describe it.
Okay.
She kind of like, she envies her, but it obviously borders on to obsession, and she basically uses her wits and her beauty and her skills to try and grow her own career, maybe at the cost of her idol. So it is a fantastic movie. When did I watch this? I saw this back in 2023. So it's
long enough where you're going to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's not like I just watched it like a few weeks ago and I'd be like, nah, I'm not. You know what I mean? I'll rewatch it.
Here's the kicker. How long is this movie?
139 minutes.
Let's go, dude. Anything under 150 is golden with these fucking things.
To me, it's it's all about if the film dictates having that kind of a runtime.
Yeah.
And what I remember with All About Eve is it absolutely dictates and deserves the runtime it has. This is a great film. It is actually directed by Joseph Mankiewicz. This is who is well known for being a big director and writer at this time. There was a film actually that David Fincher came out with a few years ago called Mank.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Starring Gary Oldman, and it's about Mankiewicz. So this, yeah, no, I mean this is a great film, and it is. I'm excited to check it out again. I was actually thinking about it the other day too, and I was like, man, I rated it so high. I was so fond of it. And there was a few scenes that I can really picture that, we'll talk about in a couple weeks, that I loved. And I was like, well, do I love it this much? We'll find out if it still holds up to that standard from a few years ago.
We're going to have to compare your last review with your, the one that's going to come out.
Absolutely. That's always the interesting part about it when it is a film that I've seen. Part of me is disappointed because I always like to see something new, but at the same time, it's nice to revisit films and because the best thing about it, Jack, and I think you'll agree, the film never changes, but your perspective does. Your perspective will change.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to see, like, it's the same movie, but I've changed a lot since 2023, as have you, as has everyone. So, will I look at this a little differently?
And we're actually going to review this movie in 3 weeks.
Well, it's 2 episodes.
Yeah, 3 weeks, 2 episodes. Well, maybe, depending on if you have a special episode in between,
It's 2 episodes. That's behind the scenes stuff to figure out.
We'll figure it out. We don't need to, because everyone's waiting for it. So I'm just letting
we don't need to air it out. But anyway, remarkable choice. Thank you to whoever commented it. I'm excited. I can say with certainty it's better than Amores Perros.
Holy shit! Thank God.
It is better than Amores Perros. Like, if you didn't like this movie more than Amores Perros, you'd have to get your head checked, because there's no way. Like, this is, I'm not saying you're gonna love it. You probably aren't gonna love it, but it's better. It just is.
Thank God. Perfect. Love to hear that.
So in 2 episodes, we'll be reviewing All About Eve, the newest addition to the Bible study segment. Thank you to whoever commented.
Yeah, keep commenting numbers. Thank you, guys.
Please, yes, do. Please comment numbers so we don't eventually run out and have to do it ourselves.
I don't want to do that extra work. Come on.
Come on, man. It takes all the fun. All right. Moving on. Why don't we talk about some box office numbers? And these are the box office numbers for the weekend of February 13th through the 15th, Valentine's Day weekend, also President's Day weekend. So a lot going on for film. Bunch of new releases.
There needs to be a movie of presidents that are just in love with each other. Like a Valentine's presidents movie. Come on, a Valentine's rom-com with like George Washington, Abe Lincoln, and Biden.
Like, the film Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Like it's like that, but with presidents?
They're all presidents. They're all brought to 2026. They're all gay. And they just fall in love. Because now they're finally allowed to be gay in 2026. We all know every president ever has been gay secretly. So why not, bring it out to the public?
Some.
No, every. And if you think they're not, that's because they're so gay they're actually homophobic.
Well, we have 2 of them right here, obviously. We have Marty and we have Willie.
Possibly the 2 gayest ones. Exactly. That's historically accurate. That's historical fact, actually. They did that.
William Henry Harrison was on his deathbed dying from pneumonia because he was an idiot, right?
Yeah.
And Marty Van Buren just walks on in like, Willie, I love you. In a little under 200 years or whatever, you and I we're going to be on the box office dynasty.
Dude, you're giving away the plot. Chill. You need to write that script.
I'm already on it right now. Here we go.
Word.
So these are your box office numbers for the weekend of February 13th through the 15th. In 5th place in its 2nd weekend of release, making another $6.3 million, is the Kevin James-led film Solo Mio, the one that he was in character for at the Super Bowl.
Dude, have you seen his TikToks that were coming out months earlier?
No, I
about it?
heard about this. I haven't
Yeah.
seen them.
He kept posting on an account called Matt Taylor, and everyone was so confused if it was him or if it was a guy who looked exactly like him, because he would just post a video as him being an art teacher. It wasn't like a verified account. And then it got revealed that the character in the movie is Matt Taylor.
Matt
So
Taylor,
it
yeah.
was a very Marty Supreme, like different type of promotional content. It was very fun, and I would not be surprised if other movies did it this way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it isn't a widely known film the same way Marty Supreme reached wider, audiences with its marketing. But I like when obviously we're in the age of social media when films utilize different kinds of, like social, TikTok and different ways to advertise the film and kind of make it a little more interactive.
Yeah, hundreds of videos of him playing the character with no mention that he's Kevin James at all. No mention of the movie. Just hundreds of videos of him being, yo, I'm Matt Taylor. I'm an art teacher. These are what my students drew today. There's videos of him in classroom with students. There's it's really cool.
If you're going to deviate from your standard interviews, on the press tour, because I hate the ones where they do these press junkets where they're like Ray Fiennes is sitting there wanting to talk about his work, and you're like, well, so which cast member's sign is your favorite? They ask the dumbest questions these days, and it's like, no, man, let's talk about the work. So if you're not going to do that, these are other methods of interesting promotion that I think engages audiences to come and see the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
So I like that. In fourth place, in its third weekend of release, making $8.8 million more dollars, is the Sam Raimi film Send Help. This is incredible. It has now grossed over $73 million worldwide, an original horror film. $73 million worldwide. It had a $40 million budget. And the most incredible thing is from its last weekend to its second weekend to third weekend, it only dropped 1.8%. 1.8%. That is unheard of. So huge for Send Help, staying in the top 5. And our top 3 is going to be a trio of new releases. In third place in its opening weekend, coming out to $14 million, is the new film Crime 101, starring Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry, Barry Keoghan. So this sounds like it's a really interesting film. I was going to go see it until I ended up seeing something else. I heard it's kind of just reheating Heat's Nachos, but Heat is an incredible film, and why not? It sounds like it's a great original movie.
And
we should be supporting.
Nachos?
Who doesn't like nachos? We should be supporting original films like this more. People should go out to the theater. I hope I can get a chance to go see this one, because it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
In second place, in its opening weekend, making $27 million, is the new animated film, the first big animated film of the year, Goat. The one that's with Steph Curry, in his, I guess, acting debut.
Yeah, voice acting.
But this got really good scores out of its opening weekend, an A cinema score and whatnot, meaning that audiences are pleased. So it sounds like we have a new, impressive original, animated film on our hands here.
Sweet.
Pretty cool. And in first place in its opening weekend of release, making $32.8 million, is the newest adaptation of Wuthering Heights. This opened Valentine's Day weekend with $82 million worldwide. Currently, as of this recording, is now at $88 million worldwide. The film's production budget alone was $80 million. So in one weekend, it made back its production budget and a little more. And I anticipate that despite the, so-so word of mouth, there will be, it'll have somewhat strong legs. I don't think it's going to carry out for weeks here, but this was the biggest release of February. And
yeah,
so
there's
I
not
think
too much competition right now.
Not in the next couple weeks, and certainly not in this specific, target audience. So I think it will do pretty well. I don't guarantee, but I'm confident it will cross $100 million for sure.
Yeah, I could see that.
Could, maybe even push 150. We'll see. But that would be an incredible return on investment for this film. Interesting, I don't know this for a fact, but it was reported that 76%, shout out Brandon, 76% of the audience that saw this film were women. Not really surprising.
Makes sense.
Granted the content of the film. But yeah, overwhelmingly women have come out in droves to support this film, which is great.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to Wuthering Heights and Emerald Fennell on winning the, and of course, Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, all of them, for winning the box office weekend of February 13th through the 15th.
Yeah, not surprised there. Yeah, Valentine's Day too. I mean, that's like the perfect time to release a movie like that. So that was some smart moves on their part.
So why don't we talk about it for a bit? I know you didn't see it. You were gonna see it. You got sick, so unfortunately you couldn't check it out.
Unfortunately, maybe fortunately.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for this episode, but fortunately for life.
Unfortunately for our viewers, but very fortunate for you.
Yeah.
But I dragged my ass out to go see Wuthering Heights. And so I'm going to rate it and review it. And I think you don't care about spoilers, right?
Don't care one bit.
So spoilers ahead for the newest film, Wuthering Heights. I give this movie 4.8 egg yolks out of 10. And you don't want to know the meaning behind that.
Is it something
telling
gross?
you now? Yeah, it
okay.
is weird. So I wasn't gonna see this. I part of me seeing it was when you told me you were gonna see it, and I was like, well, all right, I guess we'll talk about it. And then now, of course, I'm the schmuck who was stuck seeing it when originally you were gonna see it without me. It was gonna be a solo you review.
Yeah.
Look. I haven't read the original novel that was written 177 plus years ago by Emily Bronte. I cannot speak on this film really as an adaptation of that novel. In fact, I found it in store the other day, and I'm actually going to read it. It's not very long. I plan on reading it just out of curiosity to compare it, because I hear it's a great book. It's a great read.
I've heard great things.
So I have that with me. I plan on reading it.
So much shorter than I thought it was going to be. That is a lot smaller.
Yeah, it's let's see, 272 pages.
Wow, that's a lot less than I thought.
So I plan on reading it. You know, will I revisit this on the podcast? Probably not. But you know, it is still like I love, like when I was in high school, I took a film and lit class where we would read, you know, the literature and then watch the correlating film. Like at the time I read Shawshank and then I watched a movie. Same with the Shining. I read Don Quixote. I read Dracula and a whole bunch of things like that, classic literature that's been adapted onto the big screen over the course of the years.
Yeah.
So I love being able to make that comparison. What I gather from the people who have read the book, the fans of the book, this film completely and utterly misses the point, and completely and utterly is a terrible adaptation. Wuthering Heights, to my knowledge, is a story of obsession, of jealousy, of darkness within relationships, and Emerald Fennell turned it into a weird BDSM love story.
The fuck?
Okay. There was a lot of sexual deviance and violence in the third act. It just was weird. Another big important note is that in the book, the main male character, Heathcliff, that is the character that Jacob Elordi plays, is supposed to be a person of color. It's ambiguous. They don't say he's black or Hispanic or anything. They just refer to him as having brown skin in the book.
He's not a white guy.
He's not a white guy. And
it's not Jacob Elordi.
It's not Jacob Elordi, that is for sure. And while, you know, I thought Jacob Elordi was fine, you know, he's always good. You know, I think he's one of our best upcoming actors. It was a complete miscast because at the center of the story, what we're dealing with is it takes place in 18th century England. And so we're dealing with lovers that come from quite a gap of socioeconomic classes. You know, there's just a disparity there that they cannot ignore. And that is kind of a big point of contention in the film and in I assume the novel. And, you know, I think that completely whitewashing it and taking out that racial, that racial disparity that would also be at play at this time is undermining the thematic core of the story. And so for Emerald Fennell, who, if people don't know her background, she comes from a privileged family. She was born into wealth. Primarily why she keeps showing up in our movie theaters is because she's able to pay her way to these films that seem to progressively get worse each time. It just feels wrong. I mean, it's just a complete and utter, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, oversight on her part, and she described it. It's interesting because Wuthering Heights, the title is in quotations. It's Wuthering Heights.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be like, Thunderbolts, they had the asterisk last year. It's kind of like that. And,
what the fuck is
it's
Wuthering?
The Wuthering Heights is the place that they live. That's the name of the place they live.
I always used to think it was called Withering Heights until this movie came out, and I was like, oh shit,
I felt like I was withering. I felt like I was withering during this movie. Okay. Yeah, no, it was not, it just felt like, because the people that come to her defense or her herself, it's her interpretation of the story. And look, I'm not sitting here and saying that an adaptation needs to be one for one. I mean, God knows the Odyssey is coming out in July, is not going to be a one for one adaptation.
The armor's different. It didn't
of the
look like that.
Iliad, right? So that's not the point. The point is, you can't just, change the story's thematic core. You can't change what it's actually trying to say. And Emerald Fennell didn't have anything to say. She has no voice, no interesting voice, nothing to say.
Jesus.
I'm just being honest. She has nothing to actually say
sucks.
in this
she has
IP.
No interesting things to say. She's the worst.
I'll get into more of the actual film elements, but this is where I wanted to start, really.
Yeah, well, I'm just like curious if and why you're judging the film based on the plot of the book, especially not having read it, but based on what others have said the book is about, or like what you've looked up the book is about. Because how, like, does that affect your score at all? What the film could have been rather than what it is?
Not as much as not like entirely. The thing is it's not like I'm just doing this willy-nilly. I have looked into a bit of what the story is supposed to be about. Yeah. And again, I've said it. You're right. I haven't actually read it. I don't know. I don't know for certainty. But that seems to be, I'm just kind of almost spitballing what the general consensus of the fans seem to be saying.
Yeah, everything you're saying I've heard from someone else.
So it's not even necessarily this is my sole opinion. Certainly, I feel strongly that if this is what the book is supposed to be about at its essence, yes, then the movie did miss that, because even without reading the book, if you know that there's supposed to be this whole other side of, racial disparity, and obviously, the third act where it's supposed to be this story of obsession and not just this weird love story that they're shooting for here. Look, you don't have to read the book to understand that they're not hitting those marks, right? When you're watching the film. Am I going to judge the movie off that? Not entirely, no. A lot of my problems come within the film itself.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's worth noting that the film seems like it entirely missed the point of the story.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been hearing nonstop, is that this is, and some people have said it's a fine movie, so I don't know your opinion, but some people have said it's a fine movie, but as an adaptation, it's one of the worst they've ever seen.
I get that idea. I get that vibe as well.
Like people wish that it was inspired by Wuthering Heights instead of Wuthering Heights.
Well, that's kind of what it is. It's almost like they just slapped an IP on, just because she wanted to play in the sandbox, Emerald Fennell, but didn't. And again, it's mean, but didn't have actually anything interesting to say. If you're going to adapt the work, you should have something to say about it in relation to our current day society. And maybe current racial tensions or socioeconomic disparities and how that affects relationships. Just none of that was there. And so if you're going to change this up, and so I'll move on. I'll talk a little bit, I guess, about some of my actual issues. Like I said, Jacob Elordi felt a little miscast. It's hard to overlook knowing, and because I knew going into the movie that he was supposed to be a person of color.
Yeah.
It's hard to overlook that, even if you haven't read the book.
And I think a lot of people know that. Yeah.
Sure.
I haven't read the book. Multiple people haven't read the book, but they know this is what it should be.
And it had an interesting opening. So you hear a man grunting and you hear like kind of like a rocking.
He fucking?
And it's a black screen and you're like, oh, my guy.
Good for
my
him.
guy. And then it opens and the guy is hanging and to his death. And he's in the town square and everyone's cheering. And there's this weird like the camera zooms in on, he's got a stiffy.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Brother's got a stiffy while he's hanging to his death. And all the kids are like, see, I told you they get hard and this and that. And
ew.
And it's a very weird scene, but I feel like, you could be potentially setting up just a more unique take on, public's, view of sex. It didn't go that way. And so then we see, Heathcliff and Katie, which is Margot Robbie's character, as kids. She saves him, takes him in. Her father and them take him in. He's like a servant. She really, even from the start, she names him after her dead brother. She names him Heathcliff. He didn't talk. He didn't have a name, or he didn't say what his real name is. And the whole idea is their relationship dynamic is always almost supposed to be like pet and owner, and they even verbalize that, but that gets lost along the way too.
Also named after your brother, and then you're like banging him?
Yeah, I know.
The hell?
She's not banging him for many years, but
still,
I don't know.
It's weird.
I agree.
Fucking weird shit, dude.
It just was a dynamic that got lost along the way, And I think, again, if it was a person of color, like it's intended to be, that idea, because again, slavery and the idea of ownership over another person, especially in this time period, the 1700s, you're losing a whole element of the story that is now just weird. And that's why I'm saying it became more of just this weird sexual deviance instead of.
Yeah. Wait, that's insane, because that's like, Margot Robbie owning a black guy in the 1800s or whatever year it's 1800s, was it, or 1600s?
1700s.
1700s. There are, obviously so many racial undertones and elements and themes to that movie and messages that the movie wants to portray. And then if it's just Jacob Elordi, it's like, yo, they both think this is hot and she's gonna fuck him, and that's her little like submissive kitten, Yeah. That's weird. That's such a tonal shift. That's actually insane.
It really, that's kind of how the film operated most of the time. And then you have the Charlie XCX soundtrack, which did not work. It did not.
I didn't know that either.
What
the hell is this movie?
Well, they were going for, you've seen The Great Gatsby, right? The Baz Luhrmann film. That they were trying to go for something like that, where that's 1920s New York, but it backed against a modernized soundtrack, that's kind of supposed to. It just didn't work in this specific style of story.
It's just about vibes,
It really is about the tone of the film in that case. Like The Great Gatsby, those like modernized rap, it almost worked in this kind of underground story that's being told in The Great Gatsby. That's not what Wuthering Heights is. And so having this modernized soundtrack, just every time you would get to a scene where you think it might be actually getting kind of interesting, Charlie XCX blared. And I'm not like criticizing Charlie XCX herself.
No, she's great.
It just didn't work in the movie. And so that was a real big, it took me out.
Yeah.
I think that would take you out of every single scene.
That's like when Miley Cyrus started playing, at least in the credits of Avatar Fire and Ash. Imagine that was playing in like the final battle or something.
At least that was just the credits. You're right. At least that was just the credits.
But it's a weird, they want to be like relevant to now for some reason and like make it modern or whatever. I don't know. It's weird.
And like, I just explained before why it works with The Great Gatsby, but just because it worked once, there was a specific reason why I think that worked.
Yeah.
Whereas Wuthering Heights is just not that kind of a story. And that's not the tone that should be set in Wuthering Heights. It should have been fully orchestral. So that was definitely a downer. And then there was just a lot of weird things. Like there was like I'll get to the visuals in a minute because that wasn't weird, but there was like the montage. It was put together very terribly. The editing in general was kind of wonky. At one point she's eating a really massive strawberry, and it's just so. I'm like, I know it's a weird
strawberry.
It's comically large. It doesn't make. It's like. I'm like, where do you don't, they don't grow strawberries that big. That's not
that's
possible.
Mutated. That is mutated.
That's fucking mutated.
It's got some GMOs in there.
There's like a scene where they're by the fireplace that's made up of hands, and it was just not explained. It's like weird. Her wallpaper is made out of her skin. Very fucking weird stuff, man.
Is this fucking Ed Gein? What the hell is this shit? What the fuck?
Yeah, right? That's kind of how it felt. Yeah, I mean, and then like when she eventually, what happens in the story, because you don't care about spoilers.
Not literally in the slightest. I don't think I'll ever see this movie.
What happens in the story is that she's in love with Heathcliff, but she can't marry him because he's poor. He's a servant, and she doesn't want, that kind of a life.
Which would have been so much better if he was a person of color.
It would have, yeah, absolutely, wow. Right? Yeah. But she loves him, and she has this like servant assistant named Nellie, played by Hong Chow.
Okay.
And she's having a conversation with her one night, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm in love with Heathcliff." And Heathcliff comes by, but he only hears the part where she's like, "Oh, it would be like, it would like would be despised or whatever, she said, so he doesn't hear the part where she's confessing her love. He runs off. He leaves Wuthering Heights, and he goes off, and he's doesn't say anything.
He leaves the movie
forever.
He leaves Wuthering Heights.
Nellie saw that happen.
Okay.
And so Margot Robbie's character, Katie, the next day was like, I'm going to call off my engagement to Mr. Linden, who is the rich neighbor who moves in, who she falls for, but she realizes that she doesn't actually love him, right? But Heathcliff is gone. She's waiting for him. He doesn't come back. So she marries Linden. And the movie is just so unclear about the passage of time. Like, it's just unclear. Like, they're just showing scenes, and there's a montage that I mentioned.
Like, how long they're actually married for?
Right. I think they finally were like, oh, it's been 5 years. It's just hard to tell. It's very hard to tell.
Okay.
There's no time cards. There's actually, it's almost worse because there's one time card in the whole movie in the middle for no reason.
Oh, either commit or don't.
I agree. Totally agree. Either commit to the time cards or don't. In this case, you should have committed to them because it was unclear how much time was passing.
It's not like they're frowned upon, It makes things easier for the audience sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for a film that takes place over the course of many years, right?
And especially when time passing is kind of an important element, clearly, to the story.
Absolutely. So she marries him. She ends up falling pregnant with his child.
Falling pregnant? Wait, falling like over? Or like she became pregnant?
She became pregnant.
That's such a weird way to say that. Like she became ill, like she fell ill and like had a disease, bro.
She kind of felt that way about it, I guess.
Okay.
And then Heathcliff fucking comes back. And this was so stupid. So it was cool for a moment. So this isn't the gross thing about the egg yolks. I'm not going to get into the gross thing about it. But one of the things with the eggs is when they were kids, they would play pranks on each other and hide eggs under the sheets of their bed. So when they sat down on the bed, you would hear that, of the eggs.
Messy prank, but okay.
It is a messy prank, especially for the 1800s or the 1700s.
I hate to clean that shit up.
Yeah, right. You got to fucking like scrub that shit down. There's no fucking Maytag washing machine that you just go beep, beep, beep.
I guess your servant will do that for you.
Yeah, right. I guess fucking Heathcliff has to do it. And so there's a scene where she's in her room and she just like, told her husband like, oh, like I'm gonna have your kid, blah blah blah, and he walks out, and she goes to they don't like sleep in the same room together. It's never clear why. I don't know if that's like a thing at the time maybe, but it's just not clear why. He's like, oh, she was like, stay with me, and he's like, I would love to, but like you need your rest, so bye. And he just exits stage
guy.
left. and she goes to sit down on the bed and you hear the eggs. And that was like maybe the most I was into the movie. I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I was like, but then like another thing that I should have said this before, but another thing is that they used to hide under the bed. Like he used to hide under the bed, not as a prank, like as like a safety thing. Cause he used to get beat. And, so I thought he was going to be underneath the bed and I was like, oh shit, you know? And then he's not there. He's not in the room at all. He's outside in the woods, which means that he came into the house, put the eggs under the bed, and then fucking left.
And then went into the woods.
And went into the woods to wait for her, which was so stupid. I thought that was so dumb.
Well, was he scared to get caught by the guy, maybe? Because what if he did stay in the room with her?
No,
he's under the bed all night. Like,
no, yeah, he just hears like,
he's like, oh fuck.
No. Trust me, he is not intimidated in the slightest. He comes back rich now. He's rich.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
How he gets his money is unclear. I actually was okay with that. I think it's meant to be unclear.
Yeah, she didn't see him for 5 years. You didn't see him for 5 years.
And he's at dinner. She invites him over for dinner, and they have dinner, and they're asking him like how he got his money, and he's like, "Oh, who could tell? I don't know." You know, and I didn't mind that. I really didn't. He was angry, and he was trying to be suspicious about it. And I don't think it even really matters how he got his money. So like, I don't think it's an important detail. He went out into the world and he got rich and he came back because he was trying to become the person she'd want to be with. Obviously time has passed, I guess 5 years, who the fuck knows? She's already with someone else, but she still loves him. She is still in love with him and they start like an affair. You know what I mean?
Is this not I thought you were getting to the end of the movie. Is this like the middle of the movie?
The second half of the movie is the affair.
Oh shit. Okay.
So, they're like fucking around, like, and you know, Emerald Fennell likes to think she's a freak. She ain't a freak. She ain't a real freak. All right. You know,
did she do Saltburn?
Yeah.
She's a fucking freak, dude.
No, it's a different kind of freak. Not like a freak in the sheets, just a fucking freak.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the one where fucking Barry Keoghan was fucking the grave.
I never even saw Saltburn. All I know is that, and then he licks like jizz off the bathtub.
He drinks the bathtub water.
Ugh, disgusting.
With the jizz in it. Yeah. Oh, I actually say I might have liked Wuthering Heights ever so slightly more than that movie because that movie was so gross, and this movie had a couple of really a couple of big upsides that made it like a 4.7 or whatever I said, and not a 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's got some positives.
There's some positives. One of them being the visuals. The cinematographer Linus Sandgren is a genius, and he presents this film. It's just so beautiful. I mean, the shots are incredible. You know, from a visual standpoint, if you're looking at this at the surface, you're going to say, man, these are like, oh my God, the way he's playing with certain colors and settings. And he's going to be the cinematographer for Dune 3. I think it's in great hands. Like I watching this, I've seen him do some other stuff. Obviously Greg Fraser, who isn't doing Dune or the Batman, so he could do the fucking Beatles movies. Bringing in Linus Sandgren, and I think he's going to do great. So the visuals were great. The set production was solid. I don't understand why they lived in Snoke's throne room.
Oh, yeah, you said something like that. Do you think it's the same set or no?
It was, you know how Snoke's throne room is just this giant red like walls and everything, and
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, was the throne there or no?
No. I'm not. I don't mean it literally. I just mean like the castle.
Floor?
Black floors and bright red walls, and it was just entirely fucking red.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do they fucking live in Snoke's throne room? Like, that was what I was thinking the whole time.
That's kind of cool. I would like to live there.
Nah, man, because I feel like it'd be like the Seinfeld meme with Kramer with the red light coming from across the hall.
Yeah,
like that's how I would feel if I lived there. I'd be like,
that's
what the fuck? Yeah, man. And the costumes, you know, nothing crazy, but they were pretty good. So like there were some production upsides to this film. But just the acting was, you know, so. It was primarily miscast. Margot Robbie, I don't think was supposed, you know, I think she was fine. You know, I love Margot Robbie, but again, like maybe should be a bit of a younger character, so younger actress. I don't know, man. I mean, you know, it just, a lot of the elements didn't work, you know, and so you have these nice visuals, but everything of substance is pretty much shit. He ends up like Heathcliff ends up like marrying Lyndon's sister, whoever the fuck she was, in like revenge. And he's like got her on a leash like a dog in the house, and she's like totally down for it too. Like she's like, she hates him, but she's like into it. She
likes the dog stuff.
She does like the dog stuff, because Nellie was like meddling the whole time. And this is really what frustrated me too, is I didn't understand her intentions. Her character intentions are never made clear. So she's like meddling. She doesn't want Kathy and Heathcliff to be together. Heathcliff writes a bunch of letters to her. Kathy ends the affair when Heathcliff said that he was willing to kill Lyndon for her, so that they could be together.
Dude, what a psycho, bro.
And he didn't care when he found out about the baby. He didn't even care that it wasn't his. He was just like, he was just a fucking freak and a psycho. And she was like, it was too overwhelming, so she ends it. And then she falls into a depression because she's in love with him and she wants to be with him, and she's trapped. And she basically just she ends up having a miscarriage, but it was unclear if she really was, because Nellie was like, I don't believe you. And then she gets sepsis from it and dies. Like after she ends the relationship, she's in bed the rest of the movie and fucking dies.
R.I.P.
Yeah, right.
Damn.
And so, it's supposed to be tragic or like Romeo and Juliet-esque, I guess, but it just, by this point, I'm not into it.
And thank God she's gone.
So, I don't know. I mean, weird fucking movie. It feels like a very far-fetched adaptation of the original. I thought the direction was all over the place. There was no coherence to it whatsoever. And I mean, I'm looking at my notes if there's anything else, and that's pretty much it. It was a pretty stupid movie. I didn't think that it worked for me. I don't think it worked for a lot of people. It was almost so stupid that I want to fucking read the book, and I'm going to read this book now because I need to see. I know that it's a better story than what we got.
Yeah, that'll make the movie even more stupid for you.
I'm sure it will. Like, I wouldn't doubt that it would bring my rating down more.
Thanks for taking one for the team by watching that.
There was one bright side I got out of this.
Yeah?
I got a giveaway. A pocket mirror.
Really? Pop that bitch open.
And
you broke it.
No, I broke it the day of. It clicks back in. Yeah.
Oh, there. Hey!
You can see Jack.
There you go.
That was, what was funny about it? So I went to go see this movie with a couple of my friends. Including my friend Matt, who will hopefully be a guest on the show some point in the near future, and Brandon, who was already a guest on the show, actually.
Yeah.
And we went to go see it, and I got the second to last mirror that they had to give out. And then some schmuck who was already in line, who already got his ticket scanned, came back right when my buddy Matt was going to scan his ticket and was like, can I get a mirror? I guess he didn't get one. Person was like, sure. And he got the last mirror, so my buddy Matt got gypped out of getting a pocket mirror from Wuthering Heights.
Fuck that, dude. I like when they give away, like, I like a poster and like a keychain and stuff, but I like things that are kind of proppy, like related to the movie.
I didn't understand it because they don't ever use a pocket mirror once in the fucking movie. But then again, when I saw Jurassic World Rebirth, I got that cool lanyard, and they never fucking use lanyards in the movie for anything once.
They don't even, I'm trying to remember
they don't even really address it, really.
At the lab, they don't
That's what it's supposed to be, but they don't really ever, it's just such a random giveaway, you know what I mean?
You saw Transformers 1 in theaters, right?
When was that? I mean, that was...
I saw, that was 2 years ago. I got a little Megatron
Oh,
keychain,
no, I didn't
cool.
see Transformers 1. No.
No, you didn't. I got a Megatron keychain, which was cool, but I like
That's cool.
The actual props, like keychains are cool, but
there's not much I can do with this. I can't like fix my hair,
No,
so,
well, maybe your glasses are tilted. You can fix them, or
I'll like look at the beard.
The beard, the stash is, maybe something's in it.
So, but yeah, that's Wuthering Heights. I don't really recommend it unless you're a huge fan of the book and you just, for your own curiosity's sake, want to see the movie to form your own opinion. That's always valid. But I don't recommend personally.
Unless you love BDSM and being on leash and stuff, then go watch it.
Yeah, man. If you like big strawberries and dog fucking,
dog fucking,
but not doggy fucking, just Well, shit, that makes it sound like they're actually
Whoa,
fucking
whoa,
dogs.
whoa.
So.
Yeah, well, they're
Dog
trying
play. Dog
to
play.
be. Doggy play.
Unless you like doggy play or giant strawberries or weird egg yolk stuff.
I do like giant strawberries.
Yeah, but there's no way they make strawberries this fucking big. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I'm wrong if I can find a real strawberry in real life that fucking big.
But do you think that means they like genetically engineered a strawberry for this movie specifically?
No,
or they
I
just
looked
like,
it up.
It's a fake one.
It was like a big chocolate strawberry that they made for it.
Why would they do that? That's so weird. Is that
Why not just do regular fucking No, it was during the montage scene. That was fucking poorly put together.
That's so funny. Whatever. Weird movie.
That was my big takeaway from it. I was like, man, this is not edited very well. And then I was like, why the fuck is that strawberry so big?
The strawberry's giant.
That's a massive fucking berry, dude.
I might watch it just for the berry.
You should at least look up that part, you know.
Yeah, I definitely want to see how big
just to see the strawberry. She'll have fucking 2 hands in that shit. I'm like, what the hell are we looking at here?
She's watermelon it, dude.
It really was like the size of it was like a bit smaller than a watermelon. Like
Insane.
It was insane. So yeah, that is my review. That is everything. I apologize to Emily Bronte for how your work seems to have been disrespected. And to Emerald Fennell, you should probably be in director jail for a little bit to think about the crimes that you have committed. Why is Damien Chazelle in director jail after making Babylon, but fucking Emerald Fennell is going to get to move on to make some other gross shit after this?
Yeah, how'd you get past Saltburn? Come on.
Privilege.
Got it. Yep.
So that's Wuthering Heights. Fucking Withering Frights, and I will jump from a Wuthering Height. So,
damn.
Yeah, man. We're of the 4 movies I've seen this year that are new releases. It's my least favorite of those.
Yeah, not surprised. After seeing your review, not surprised.
But something that wasn't my least favorite new release, and I'm going to spend less time talking about it. Wuthering Heights, really, I needed to get some thoughts out. And that's the new Gore Verbinski film, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. This has been on my radar since sometime last year when I first heard about it. You know Gore Verbinski. He is the director of the Pirates of the Caribbean films.
Yes, he is. Yeah, I like
this. This is his first movie in nearly 10 years. So I'll give my ratings and non-spoiler review because I know you want to see this one.
Yes.
So I'm not going to talk as extensively as I did with Wuthering Heights, but I am going to talk a little bit about it. And I will start by giving Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. I'll say 6.5 phones out of 10. So essentially what this film's premise is Sam Rockwell plays a guy from the future who comes back to present day, and goes to a diner, famous diner, Norm's, in order to collect the correct group of people to help save the world from AI. And
okay, relevant.
It is certainly relevant. This was a very fucking weird movie. I know Wuthering Heights was a weird movie, but this was also a weird movie for a very different reason. So obviously the film has a lot of things to say about the rising threat of AI. Certainly it's not wrong in terms of how we as a society continue to get more disconnected as we connect through technology and the internet. And this film makes a very valid point of that fear. It's certainly not the first movie to do that, or not the most effective. It was fun. The movie was fun, but very nonsensical. Honestly, just did not make sense a lot of the time. And you're going along for the ride, and you're like, yeah, I'm still having a good time, right? Like it's hard to be upset, but
is it nonsensical when you really think about it because it's a time travel movie, or just as its like base level, surface level, it's like this makes no sense?
At its base level. I mean, Sam Rockwell, we don't even ever learn his name. His character's name is just like officially just the man from the future. You know what I mean? Which I like that, it's because he's on a mission. So it's not about him. Right. And he makes it clear from the very start when he, the opening is great. The opening is the best scene in the movie because it opens with him coming into the diner. And he makes it clear that this is not the first time he has come into this diner, and not the first time he has attempted to do this mission. He has collected people from the diner and done this hundreds of times before. I don't
Little
remember exactly.
Groundhog Day sitch
It
going
is
on.
it is like Groundhog Day, and he's in control of it. He makes that clear. He's like, I cannot let anything happen to me. I will keep doing this over and over until I accomplish my mission, which I'm not going to get into all the details of that, what the mission is and all that, obviously. But essentially he's trying to collect a certain group of people. He says all I know is that like he doesn't even know the number of them, but he knows a certain number of you and specific amount of you here will help me save the world. The movie, like I said, just nonsense though. Like it really, even from a baseline, like, all right, suspend your disbelief for the time travel and whatever. It just, a lot of it felt like Gore Verbinski, old man yelling at the clouds kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
It just didn't make sense. It was fun. Sam Rockwell's having a blast. I love this guy. He is so great in this movie. And the whole cast, it's a good cast. You have Juno Temple, you have Michael Pena, you have Zazie Beetz, good actors who really fill out the supporting cast and have fun with it. It just, I hate to repeat myself, but I didn't really get it, especially the ending. Again, not going to say what, not going to spoil. But the ending was very weird to me too. I didn't really understand it. Sort of, yeah, sort of unsatisfying. Not enough to hate the movie.
Yeah, well, 6.5 is lower than I thought you would give it, to be honest.
It's lower than I thought I was going to give it, but I truly just couldn't completely suspend my disbelief for, some of what the movie was trying to accomplish in its plot is, I guess, the most vague way I can describe it. So it was a little disappointing on that part. Now, I saw this before Wuthering Heights, and compared to Wuthering Heights, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this movie. This is peak. But yeah, I also thought it was ironically funny because at one point there's an Amazon product placement, and I'm like, Gore Verbinski's yelling about conglomerate takeover and technology and the fear of that, and meanwhile there's a fucking Amazon Prime fucking ad, somewhere in the movie. But
so, like, to me, that screams he doesn't really care about the message he's trying to send. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's just, you could have had any kind of ad. You could have had a Coca-Cola ad. You could have had anything. You pick Amazon.
Probably just needed it to fund the movie. I mean, again,
Yeah, like, but I don't know.
After this, and notice in its opening weekend, we talked box office numbers. It didn't even crack top 5. I think it finished 7th. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a bad box office by any stretch of the means for it because it was in only a certain amount of theaters around the country. So that is something to keep in mind. It also was barely marketed, right? I mean, people didn't really know about it. So for what it's worth, it wasn't a bomb, I don't think, but it definitely was a little unsatisfying at the end. Not disappointing though. Like the film was good. It was
like worth the watch.
Worth the watch. I mean, you might like it more than me.
Yeah, maybe.
Some people might be able to overlook the ending. I get the ending. I get the point of the ending, but it didn't, within the film, didn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like
I am a big ending guy. Like I need the ending to land.
Well, I would argue, when I was in film school, one of the things that was taught that I do think is important is the first shot and the last shot of a movie are your biggest impressions. It's what people will leave with the most. Not that the stuff in the middle isn't important, but what you open with and what you close with can really make or break a film. And this movie opens fantastic. It does not close that way. And again, I kind of get the purpose of it. But I don't love the execution of it in any way within the story.
Okay.
So that, again, it felt unsatisfying, but it wasn't a disappointing movie. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like, I'm like, oh man, this is such a chore. No, it was fun. It was a nice adventure film. The characters are decently well written. The structure of it's a little odd, but overall there were a lot of decent takeaways, I think is the way to really put it. But as a whole, yeah, I think the film definitely left me wanting a little more, especially from a guy like Gore Verbinski, who is one of our greats, of the last 20 plus years. The first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean films are obviously
So
incredible
good.
movies. And he did fucking Rango, man. And Rango is a great movie too.
Underrated film. I love Rango.
It was definitely, it's great to see Verbinski back in the theaters. And I do highly recommend checking it out and supporting this film. So like I said earlier with Crime 101, we should be supporting original films more.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting movie to me, so I'm definitely going to check it out.
I definitely recommend it. I mean, that's about all I have to say from a non-spoiler standpoint.
Yeah.
But in terms of, I'll close with this. Like I said, in terms of, films and media that are meant to warn us about the dangers of the slippery slope that is AI, it's valid. But we have gotten that story a lot before, and this was not the best version of that story. Like, I think of like Ex Machina, which came out when did Ex Machina come out? But essentially, that's a similar thing. That's the one that's with Oscar Isaac, Alicia Vikander. It came out in 2015. Wow, it's been 11 years. Domhnall Gleeson. That movie, I think, handles the fear of AI and the rise of technology in a much more sinister and sensical manner. So, that's a better movie. But yes, everyone go support Gore Verbinski. I didn't hate it. I'm not sitting here trying to trash it. It was fun. It was colorful. Sam Rockwell is incredible. Honestly, such a great performance. I think it'll be a very underrated performance.
Is it your third favorite? I know you said you saw 4 movies and Wuthering Heights your last. So
I've seen 4. It's third. So my current order for the 4 films that have come out in 2026 that I've seen from 1 to last, 28 years later, The Bone Temple has been my favorite so far. Actually, ironically, Jack, this is in the order that I've seen the movies too.
Okay.
My second favorite is Send Help. My third favorite is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. And my least favorite so far is Wuthering Heights.
Okay.
So
yeah, that makes sense. I've only seen 3 movies this year, and mine's, what do I got? I really enjoyed The Wrecking Crew. So that's number 1, then Send Help, then The Rip. So
I can't believe you put Wrecking Crew above Send Help. Send Help was so good.
I know, but Wrecking Crew was so fun, man. But 2 of mine, unfortunately, are streaming movies. I have not been going to the movies recently as much as I want to, and for the next couple of weeks, I'm not going to be able to go as often as I want to either. It sucks, but
there's not a lot to see in the next few weeks. Again, some of these current ones that are out. Next month, we'll get the new Pixar film Hoppers. We'll get The Bride. I'm very excited to talk about that. And then, of course, the biggest one, Project Hail Mary.
Yes.
That's going to be huge. And I know you're reading that book. I've read that book, and it's one of my favorite books I've ever read.
Yeah.
So that's good luck, have fun, don't die. And that's some good advice. Good luck, everyone. Have fun and just don't die. Okay.
Yeah, I will live by that.
You should live by that.
I was planning on having bad luck, not having fun, and then dying, but I think I'm going to do the opposite now.
That's what life kind of feels like in general. Just bad luck, limited fun, and then we die.
And then you die. Yeah, so let's not do that. Let's switch it up a little bit.
Let's switch it up. Thanks, Gore. So that's that film. Check it out. It's in theaters right now.
Speaking of fun, are we doing what I think we're doing? No, we're not. Okay, never mind. Speaking of, I'm so excited.
I know I've done a lot of talking. We can switch it around, but I think it makes more sense to save the fun game for last.
We'll save it. We got a fun game after this, but we got some news we got to talk about.
As Jack and I have fully documented and made clear, we're going to keep you updated every time that we have news regarding the Warner Brothers sale, and the bidding war between Netflix and Paramount. We owe it to all of you and ourselves to be transparent and know what's going on, because this is major news. I know we've been talking about it for a few months, but it's not something that's happening overnight, and it is going to redefine entertainment and the general media landscape for the next century.
Yeah, this is as important as anything we're going to talk about. I mean, this might be the most important thing that we're talking about, unless some other crazy shit happens that we don't expect. This is like something we need to discuss.
So this is where we're currently at with things. As we know, last time we checked in here, Warner Brothers had an agreement in place with Netflix, and then Paramount was trying to launch a hostile takeover by going directly to the shareholders with their offer. Warner Bros., with Netflix's waived permission, they get 1 week, it's within the binding deal, has decided to reopen negotiations with Paramount Skydance and is giving them 1 week to make their, quote, best and final offer. Netflix is, because I know you're probably going to ask, what is their angle here? They think by doing this, plus it's legally in their binding agreement, but they want to give transparency and just a sense of, clearance on the whole situation.
Yeah.
They think that Paramount, the shareholders deserve that.
So they can't bitch and say that it was unfair.
They'll bitch anyway. But
I know they'll try and sue and they'll bitch about it, but like this way, at least you're kind of, kind of get rid of that.
Absolutely. So Warner Brothers Discovery currently has a binding deal with Netflix, which does mean that Netflix would have the right to match any offer that Paramount does deliver. And that is important to note because we'll get into the difference in the offers in a moment. The Warner Brothers shareholders are officially voting on the $83 billion Netflix package on March 20th. So that is when the vote is supposed to take place. The board of WBD is unanimously recommending the Netflix deal. That is what they're pushing for the shareholders.
Yeah.
The latest offer from Paramount is at $30 per share. They say that their offer can get up to $31 per share with other incentives. Netflix, when you boil down that $83 billion, is currently at $27.75 per share, all cash. So the Paramount deal is higher in share price, but the Warner Brothers board is maintaining the belief that the Netflix deal is a much more stable deal and that they can financially support it.
The really stupid way that I found out Paramount was offering more was from a fucking Kalshi ad. It was like Paramount, new Paramount offer for Warner Brothers. And then I was like, oh shit. And I thought it was just a regular account, like a movie news account. And then I swiped to the next page and it's like, oh, place your bets on who's going to win on Kalshi now. And I was like, oh, come on. All right.
Yeah, Kalshi's a fucked up, man. Gambling in general has gone a little too far. I mean, Kalshi, you can literally they'll be like, oh, let's place your bets on the odds that this is the next Ukrainian city that Russia's going to bomb. And you're like, what the fuck? You probably shouldn't be able to put money on that. Like,
place your bets on how many politicians are circumcised. Like,
yeah,
I don't
right?
fucking know.
So, right now the Justice Department is already summoning large movie theater chains to have conversations about the impacts of a potential WBD sale. And it is increasingly likely that Donald Trump will try to kill Netflix's bid for Warner Brothers over, quote, antitrust concerns. But really what he's trying to do is pave the way to help his buddy David Ellison, who owns Paramount, to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. This would essentially give the President of the United States control over Fox, CBS, CNN, and TikTok. He's, essentially looking to use his office to help his personal allies with regulatory favors in exchange for the ability to control the narrative in the media about him.
And you're telling me the president's not gay, dude? Him and David Ellison, regulatory favors? Come on, bro.
Marty and Willie are so proud.
They're getting in there.
But I totally agree. Look, without a doubt, the most corrupt administration in the history of this country. And I'm not going to get into the full politics, but if you listen to that, that's what he's trying to do. He wants to kill the Netflix bid so he can get Ellison, who owns CBS, who already, he wants to control the narrative in the media. I mean, he's attacked the media for years. This is his end game here.
But do we think Netflix is going to match it, the Paramount bid? Or are they going to, because they have the choice, either match it and almost guarantee that they'll get it because Warner Brothers already wants to give it to them, or they kind of just bank on the fact that Warner Brothers doesn't want to fuck around with Paramount and they'll give it to Netflix regardless.
I do think that someone asked Ted Sarandos that, the CEO of Netflix, and he said, he was very upfront. He's very confident. He was like, let Paramount try, let him make a move. And they asked him,
I respect it.
Will you match? And he said, well, it basically we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Kind of.
I don't like Ted Sarandos, but that's a solid answer.
Listen to this, Jack. I want to make it clear what what Paramount would own if this were to go through. These are the networks, and then I'll give you the franchises. It's a bit of a list, but it is the best way to paint the picture for you and everyone at home. Companies, networks, and channels that they would own include Skydance, TikTok, Fandango, Rotten Tomatoes, DC Studios, Oracle, HBO, CNN, CBS, Bleacher Report, Nickelodeon, HGTV, TLC, Paramount Plus, TNT, Comedy Central, TBS, Showtime, Cartoon Network, Animal Planet, CBS Sports, Adult Swim, HBO Max, Boomerang, Cinemax, Pluto TV, VH1, MTV, BET, Travel, CW, the Science Channel, the Food Network, and the Discovery Channel. That includes franchises like Harry Potter, Mad Max, The Conjuring, The Matrix, It, The Lord of the Rings, Gremlins, Transformers, Mortal Kombat, The Wire, The Sopranos, True Detective, Game of Thrones, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Flash, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Joker, Dexter, Harley Quinn, Mission Impossible, Green Lantern, Shazam, Teen Titans, Justice League, A Quiet Place, Star Trek, Yellowstone, Paranormal Activity, Cloverfield, Sonic, Blue's Clues, Jackass, SpongeBob. You guys get the fucking point yet, or what?
Yeah. Everything you love will now be owned by them.
And that kind of consolidation of diverse franchises and IPs and news outlets and film studios, that is dangerous. Because at the top, and that's what antitrust laws are in place for in the first place, one person controlling that narrative, one person controlling an industry and setting that standard, that is why monopolization is dangerous. It is a slippery slope, and that is where we're headed for. And I'm not saying Netflix, it wouldn't also be an antitrust concern. I'm not even disagreeing, but there is a hypocrisy to the current administration to question the antitrust, concerns of Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers, when with Paramount, it would be all the same. Or worse.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way about it. That's right.
Listen to this. Media industry insiders and lawmakers have questioned whether Netflix's proposed deal could win approval in the government because it would bring together two of the top streaming services, and that can result in higher prices for consumers like you and I. Fair. However, Netflix's leadership has repeatedly said that the company believes it would win the regulatory approval because they would preserve jobs in what is a challenged media landscape. Paramount has sounded the alarm for Warner Brothers shareholders, however, and argues that their offer is not only better, but would be easier to garner government support. And now we know why, the Ellison family. On the flip side to that, Jack, Paramount's offer has raised questions, and we talked a little bit about this last time we updated, of foreign funding and antitrust considerations, bringing together two of the largest portfolios of pay TV channels and major film studios. I mean, I just listed all the stuff they would have under one umbrella. It would be very dangerous. Not to mention that Paramount's deal is financed largely in part by sovereign wealth funds of Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. And even though Paramount has said those entities have agreed to forego governance rights, you're letting dangerous pockets into our media and into our entertainment. And that is extremely dangerous and should be extremely worrisome for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that for months. I mean, it's just it's insane, and it's not looking good.
So that is really where we're at. Obviously now Netflix will have 1 week, Paramount will have 1 week to make its best and final offer. So we'll probably have another update for you next episode.
Yeah.
On this ongoing saga.
100%.
March 20th is a day to mark down in all of our calendars as a big day for the vote, and we'll see where the future of Warner Brothers and the future of media as a whole lies after that. So that's kind of where we're at right now, folks.
Look out for that update next week, because we'll definitely hop on that.
Absolutely. So, that's what's going on there. Just wanted to keep everyone up to date. I think it's important, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. As we get to the end of the episode, I wanted to play a little game, have a little fun. We're going to play some Would You Rather, new segment we're going to do. Okay. And I've got I think I'm very proud of these questions because they're hard. Like, They're tailored to you specifically.
I can't wait to be like, bro, this dog. No, I'm kidding.
No, they're hard. They're really good. Okay, so these are film and TV show related would you rathers. First one. Would you rather The Odyssey is mid and it's in the lower half of Nolan's filmography, or The Odyssey is great, but he announces that it will be his last movie?
Ooh. I'd rather it be mid, and I'd rather know that more because, I mean, look, that would stink. I've already made it clear. I don't think it's going to be his best movie anyway. I don't.
Okay.
Oppenheimer Interstellar is my favorite Nolan movie, but I think that Oppenheimer is probably like his best film that he's ever made.
Yeah.
It is going to be incredibly difficult to top that. I still think it's going to be a great film, but the expectations are so high. So look, if it ended up being more disappointing, that would stink. But I would have incredible faith that he would rebound. Right? I mean, look at Tenet.
I was gonna say, look, he made what people say is a mid movie, and then he came out, his next movie was Oppenheimer.
I mean, the idea of no more Nolan films, I'd rather just The Odyssey not work for one reason or another, and then we get more Nolan in the future.
And then he'll eventually end on a high note whenever he decides to retire.
I'm sure he would. Yeah.
All right. Would you rather Avengers Doomsday is in the top 5 MCU projects for you, or the next 3 DCU movies are Superman level quality and you think they're as good or better as Superman? So the next 3 are Superman, Man of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and Clayface.
DCU. That one is pretty easy. I've obviously documented. I just don't care about Doomsday.
But if it's in your top 5 MCU, that would be
awesome. That would be awesome. But the MCU has had time. I've had my run of fun with it. The DCU is still new. I would love for the DCU. I mean, also, we're talking about 1 movie compared to 3.
Yeah.
I'd much rather Supergirl, Clayface, and then Man of Tomorrow be Superman level, films than Doomsday be in the top 5. That's 1 movie to 3. So
Fair. Would you rather we get the full lineup of the DCU's entire cast announced tomorrow, so every major character that's going to be in the DCU is announced tomorrow, or we get a Super Smash Bros. Universe announcement tomorrow that the Super Mario Galaxy movie and the Super Mario Bros. Movie is all leading to a Super Smash Bros. Movie?
I'm going to have to go with that one, man. That sounds so awesome. Look, DCU, we already have a good idea of a lot of the people coming in. And, I just think if, they could pull off a Super Smash Bros. Film. Imagine if the Sonic franchise that's already been so great led into that somehow. It'd be like the multiverse of madness for it'd be like the Endgame or the Doomsday for that world. And I think that would be fun.
Because we're all hoping that's where it's going. But there's we don't know for sure.
I don't know if that's where Sonic's go. But I don't know, man.
The Mario Bros. Movies.
That would be, I don't even know how they would pull that off with licensing the IPs. But it would be, who would be Steve? Would it be Jack Black's Steve?
I think you'd have to take out some characters. Maybe only the Nintendo characters would have to be in the first one, I don't know, you'd have to get Kirby and Fox and Falco and Yoshi and, I don't know, fucking Pokemon. Those might have to be the first characters. I don't know.
That would be really, really cool. I definitely would rather that.
Okay. Would you?
I'm curious. Wait, which one would you rather have?
I think it'd be cool to have that announcement just because I'm so excited to see who's playing Batman, who's playing Wonder Woman. But we're going to get that eventually. The Super Smash Bros. To be confirmed that that's where those movies are going is next level.
Yeah.
I'd have to pick that.
I agree.
Would you rather The Mandalorian and Grogu is one of the best Star Wars projects of all time? All fans and critics love it, but you personally hate it. Or everyone thinks The Mandalorian and Grogu sucks ass and is garbage, but you love it and you think it's one of the greatest Star Wars projects of all time.
Ooh. Now that's a tough one.
Star Wars is in a risky place right now where some movies could dictate, how the future is.
Because the thing is it's not going to be one of the best Star Wars projects of all time. You know what I mean?
Right,
it might be
everyone might think that, or you could think that. Like, which one would you rather have?
I'd rather everybody else think it. I feel like if
And you hate it?
I feel like it's easier, or you look less silly to hate a movie that people like than to love a movie that everyone's like, this sucks. And you're like, what? No. Like, I'd rather just be like, yeah, it wasn't for me. I'm
I
glad
also
people liked it, but it wasn't for me.
I think that's a good take. I also think that because Star Wars is kind of dying off a little bit, having a movie that everyone loves would be really good for Star Wars fans in general, even if you hate it.
Yeah, even though it's not the kind of Star Wars I necessarily want them to go with. Like Jon Favreau literally said it felt like, playing with toys.
Yeah.
I don't like that. But yes, it would be better, even though obviously I'm depriving myself of the enjoyment. It would be better overall for a franchise that I still greatly care about.
Agreed. I really like this one. Okay. From Avatar, the Blue People Avatar, James Cameron Avatar, Quaritch has a Zuko level redemption arc after all the movies are completed. And it's seen as one of the greatest redemption arcs of all time, like literally up there with Zuko. Or Quaritch ends up not redeeming himself at the end of the series, but instead becomes a Darth Vader level villain, as iconic and as villainous as Darth Vader.
I would rather him have the Zuko level redemption arc. We've already had he wasn't a Vader level villain, but we already have had villain Quaritch. And just based on the way that the Way of Water and then especially Fire and Ash started trending, I mean, you really could have one of the greatest redemption stories for a character of all time, and it maybe would end tragically. Maybe he ends up sacrificing himself for this beautiful world. And imagine him from the first Avatar trying to destroy this world to the very end, he sacrifices himself to save it. It would maybe be better than Zuko. It honestly would maybe be the greatest redemption arc in history of film. So
it's fun because this is like a would you rather just fake scenario, but that is actually so very possible.
Yeah, it is. So that I think I'd rather see that. I think that would make a lot more sense for his character at this point.
Agreed. Would you rather they kill off Debbie in Invincible Season 4, or they kill off Zendaya's MJ in Brand New Day?
Look, he should have done that in No Way Home, but
now it's like kind of how do they do that without fucking up No Way Home, you know?
I'm actually going to say Zendaya in No Way Home or in Brand New Day. Debbie is like one of my favorite characters in Invincible, her. Man. It's funny because she's one of the only ones who doesn't have like superpowers. Or whatever. She's so strong. She's so funny and inspirational. She's such a emotional driving force for Mark. Like, I just can't imagine that show without her. I can imagine Spider-Man movies without Zendaya's MJ. In fact, I do think almost that relationship reached its end. They're just kind of keeping her around because, it's fucking Zendaya and she sells a lot more tickets if she's in the movie.
I'm hoping she's barely in the next one.
So, or at least if she's in it, they utilize her character in a way that makes sense. But I don't know if you were expecting me to say that, but I'm going to have to say her. I cannot see Invincible without Debbie.
That's tough because I get what you're saying. I love Debbie more than Zendaya's MJ, but I think narratively it would make more sense for her to die in season 4 than it makes sense to kill MJ.
But I mean, why? Like, because Mark has already had enough emotional trauma that drives his character. It just feels like piling on. And you could say that about Peter Parker too, obviously, but
yeah, they both get fucked up.
They really do. But like, to me, has Debbie's character run her course especially with everything with his brother, right? Like, has her character run its course in that show compared to has Zendaya's MJ run her course in the Spider-Man movies? I'm leaning towards the latter, personally.
Yeah, that's fair. A couple more. Would you rather Pixar announces that they are making Ratatouille 2, or Pixar announces that they are making WALL-E 2?
Ooh. So I like WALL-E more. WALL-E is my favorite Pixar movie of all time, and probably always will be. I mean, you never know, but I would say I'd rather Ratatouille 2. And I say that because WALL-E is, I mean, I don't like describing movies as perfect. No movie's perfect, but is a near masterpiece, and it is a singular story, and the ending that just does not need a continuation. You could, in theory, do something more interesting, continuing on with Ratatouille, with, you know, Remy and Linguini with the restaurant that they operate or something. I just think WALL-E is one of those things where it's like it's better left alone.
Totally agree. I like WALL-E better also, but I think WALL-E, you just got to leave it. You just got to leave
It's
it
better
alone.
left alone versus, yeah, like Ratatouille, you know, and not that Ratatouille doesn't stand on its own, but there is more you could do, I think, to continue that story than WALL-E.
Would you rather the new HBO Harry Potter series is better than the movies and is absolutely peak Harry Potter content, or Viggo Mortensen comes back as Aragorn in the new Lord of the Rings movie, but he's killed off halfway through?
Isn't the new movie like a prequel?
I don't know. I didn't see the third movie. I
So
thought it was a sequel.
I'm pretty sure it's a prequel.
Oh, wait.
So
Oh, then don't answer. If you're going to spoil the third Return of the King for me, then don't answer it.
I I don't really want to answer that. Like I would take that. I'm pretty sure it's a prequel, and I would take that.
All right, well, let's say there's a sequel coming out, and he's going to come back as Aragorn, but he gets killed halfway through, or the Harry Potter series is peak Harry Potter content, better than the movies by a mile.
This is tough. I like Lord of the Rings more than Harry Potter. I mean, the Harry Potter movies are great, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy, despite what you say, is I mean, you haven't seen Return of the King
I like
yet, but
the second one.
You wouldn't. You're already at a point where you wouldn't call it the great, you know,
No.
probably the greatest trilogy of all time.
Yeah, definitely not.
It is tied in my head for the greatest trilogy of all time with the Before trilogy. A sequel is just not necessary. The story is what it is, but I don't really want to support J.K. Rowling anymore. You know what I mean? I am not interested. I have no interest in watching the Harry Potter show. I probably won't watch it when it comes out, to be honest with you. Or at least it will be very low on my priority list. I don't know. I mean, you know, like, I mean, if this might be the toughest one yet. If the sequel for Lord of the Rings is doing this with Aragorn in a way that is justified,
like they're gonna make the sequel anyway, but it's either he's gonna get recast or because
he's getting recast. I thought you said he comes back
because I thought this new movie he's getting recast in it. You know what I mean? So let's just say it's a sequel. So he's getting recast, but in this scenario, like the sequel is getting made regardless, but in this scenario, he's playing Aragorn, but he gets killed off halfway through.
Oh, so, no, all right, wait, I'm confused. So is Viggo Mortensen in the movie or not?
He's so in real life.
In your no. In your scenario,
in my scenario, Viggo Mortensen is playing Aragorn, but he gets killed off halfway through, or Harry Potter series is peak Harry Potter.
I'd rather the series be peak Harry Potter. I don't want to fuck with Lord of the Rings, and I don't really give a shit if the series is considered better than the movies. Like it's
no wait. So you're not gonna take the Lord of the Rings?
No, I'm taking Harry Potter.
Okay.
I this was the toughest one yet, but I don't really give a shit if the Harry Potter series is considered to be better than the movies. In real life, it's not going to be. Very, very, very likely not. But you know, in this hypothetical, I would rather them not fuck around with Lord of the Rings than if they just fuck around with the remake of Harry Potter. Because one is a remake also, and one is a sequel. So
let's do 3 more quick ones. All right. I'm saving the hardest one for last. What I think is the hardest one. Let's go. Okay. Would you rather Disney decides to reboot the original Star Wars trilogy as their next 3 projects, or Disney decides to stop making Star Wars content altogether after 2026, but keeps the IP?
I would rather them just stop Star Wars altogether than reboot the original trilogy. The idea of them rebooting that trilogy is blasphemous.
I know.
And sometimes it's okay to leave a franchise be. Like, I don't know why Star Wars and Marvel, other than the fact that Disney pumps them for money, there's no reason that these IPs have to continue to be milked, right?
We don't need
Compared to
something
other.
every year.
We
Like,
don't need Star Wars every year. And I know Crosby would kill me, and would if he heard that, and Ed would probably kill me when he hears that. But it's true. If it came down to them rebooting the original trilogy, which is the best Star Wars trilogy,
only as their next
obviously.
3 projects, though. Then they'll keep continuing to their
No, but
regular
I don't
shit.
want that to exist. I don't.
Yeah.
It would be a stain
I agree.
on
I
Star
totally agree.
Wars. I'd rather them just end Star Wars and we get what we got and we enjoyed it and we move on with our lives.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Would you rather Spider-Man is erased from existence or Batman is erased from existence?
Ah, that's tough. I know what you would pick.
Yeah, but it would be tough for me too.
But it would be
I
tough to
love
do.
Batman. Yeah.
I think I would have to race Spider-Man. And I know that breaks your heart, but
Yeah.
it's just I think that there has been a wider variety of Batman adaptations over the years than Spider-Man. And
I hate it, but I get it.
It would be harder to let that go. Like, don't get me wrong, Spider-Man is the second most popular superhero of all time behind like Superman. You know, everyone's heard of Superman. But like, again, Spider-Man movies, they're pretty I know, then you're losing Spider-Verse. Oh.
I think Spider-Man is more relevant now, but I do think Batman over both their histories has been more popular and more relevant.
I agree with that take. Spider-Man is definitely more relevant these days. But besides the Spider-Verse movies, and obviously I love Spider-Man 2. I love Homecoming. I love but like if it wasn't the Spider-Verse movies, I would be so definitively saying Spider-Man. Oh, the Spider-Verse movies to lose would be so fucking tough.
Yeah.
But like, I still think I'm going to have to say Spider-Man over Batman because there's been, like I said, a larger variety of diverse Batman content over the years.
I think that's fair. I would pick to keep Spider-Man and lose Batman. But I do agree that like the Justice League doesn't really work without Batman, but the Avengers work without Spider-Man.
Right? How does that
better
work
off
too?
on his
You
own.
know what I mean? Exactly.
Spider-Man's better off on his own, but I do think Batman is such a core member of the Justice League. It's hard that would taint everything else.
That was tough, though. I say that with no happiness in my heart to get rid of Spider-Man because the Spider-Verse movies are two of the best superhero movies of all time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think this is the hardest one, and this is the last one. You might think it's super easy because of your values, but I do think that it's a lot harder than we might say. Okay. Would you rather every movie ever is released in theaters, but ticket prices are doubled and A-list no longer exists? The movies will come out on streaming, but after a couple months, like they usually do.
When you say every movie ever, you mean new movies, right?
New movies. So streaming does exist for movies that have been released already, and new releases will come out every couple months on streaming. But
does this include like re-releases for old movies too?
Yeah, like that stuff.
Anything that comes out in theater,
anything that's new for the year will be in theaters. So no streaming new movies.
What do you mean by the ticket price? Like, what are we talking here?
Like everything. If you go to AMC ticket prices right now, every movie, like if it's $22 for an IMAX ticket, it'll be $44 for an IMAX ticket. I'm saying all ticket prices have been doubled.
Okay.
A-list no longer exists. All movies are in theaters. You can't stream new movies until months go by and they come out on streaming. Or every single new release is released on streaming, but it's free and theaters no longer exist.
Oh. Well, I'm going to have to pick the first one. And the reason for that is because with movies are made to be seen in theaters. They just are. And with the first option, you still get streaming. You still get the streaming.
You just have to wait months before you see a new movie.
Yeah. The same amount of time that you do now. But in regards to the second option, again, you're taking away one of the most important parts of film in general, which is the movie-going experience. Communal viewing experience in the theater with the big screen and the surround sounds. And without that, the magic of all of it kind of dissipates. I mean, look at streaming movies that come straight to streaming. The quality difference is clear. I know I say that in the Wrecking Crew is your favorite movie this year so far, but in general, I do think you would agree from a generalized 100%. Standpoint that it's not made to the same care and quality that theatrical releases are. That is where movies are meant to be. Sure, $44 for an IMAX ticket would be brutal. You would have to be much more selective about what you see, but at least you wouldn't be losing out on that experience. I mean, with the second option, you're losing the experience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to say that.
My heart wants to agree with you, but my bank account might have to pick the second option.
Well, you're not going to go see everything that comes out, obviously, because of that.
But that's like, that sucks. I mean, this podcast would be just us talking about TV shows for most of the time until we're like, this movie might be worth $40.
Remember that movie that came out 3-4 months ago, folks?
I know.
Time to review it. We'd be talking about Wuthering Heights on 4th of July.
I know. I think I'm going to pick... I think I would pick the same option as you, because that experience is unbeaten. You can't match that experience with anything, and there's nothing like it. So I'll spend the money every now and then to do it.
Right, because you still have streaming. It's not like streaming isn't an option. So
yeah, I'll see it eventually.
You know, movies that you didn't care enough to pay for, you'll see eventually. And then you still get to see the Odyssey or Dune or, even Doomsday or whatever big movies people are looking forward to. You still get to see them the way it was intended to be seen on the big screen in a theater with a audience. Like that's been the go-to since the beginning of theater. When a train pulls into the station came out in like 1903 or whatever, one of the first like films, and it's just like a minute clip of a train pulling into a station, and people were sitting around in like a little room, and they see this train coming at the screen, and obviously they don't know what a movie is, and they thought it was actually coming out at them. They thought they were going to get hit by this fucking train, and they're all screaming, and it's silly, but it's proof that like since the beginning of the art form, the best experience that people get the most, that evoking the most feelings and emotion is coming from that communal experience together. And, I mean, we need more of that, and we need more support of that for filmmakers and for artists and for audiences. So that is my argument. I would have to take that.
Good answer. Those are my would you rather questions.
Those were good. Those were actually really good.
They're not like, would you rather think, I'll watch Oppenheimer or Barbie tomorrow,
Yeah, no, that was, I was kind of proud of them. They were well thought out. I give you credit for that, for sure.
Okay, cool.
For sure.
Love that.
I'm not going to lie to you. The Batman and Spider-Man was your hardest one.
Really? Okay. I really
because I get what you're saying, but it's really no question to me to not sacrifice that theatrical experience. Sacrificing the Spider-Verse films, however, completely different story.
Yeah, man. Those are just like pinnacles in animation,
Yeah.
So it is tough.
So I like that. That was fun.
Okay, cool. You want to move on to our last and final thing?
Sure. Let's do some Seesaw.
Yeah.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. It's been.
I've been very talky, so you go first.
I'll say some stuff this episode.
Give me a break.
Okay, Seesaw. Something I want to see. You hinted at it before, but I really am excited for Project Hail Mary. I think that this is a contender for the best movie of the year. We always talk about how The Odyssey is going to be our favorite. We're predicting The Odyssey is going to be our favorite, which would be 2 years in a row that, this podcast started in 2025. Sinners was both our favorite for the year. In 2026, I'm kind of hoping we have the same favorite again. We're predicting Odyssey, but I do think that there's a very good chance that Project Hail Mary can easily be in the top 3, top 2, maybe number 1. I'm very excited for it. It visually looks amazing. Love Ryan Gosling. He looks funny. He's going to be a little quippy like always. You read the book. I am planning on reading the book before it comes out in March. So I think that'll add an extra layer to both our reviews. So I think that's going to be a great, great episode also, which makes me part of the reason why I'm very excited for is how good the episode of the podcast is going to be after we watch it. So I'm very excited for that. I'm excited to read it, and then I'm excited to watch it, especially since you said that the trailers kind of spoil the biggest surprises and some of the biggest surprises in the book. So that I'm not really spoiling much from reading it anyway. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Obviously you'll know the ending, but
right. But if there were huge twists that you might say, maybe save that for the movie. But if it's already done what what you're most excited about, then I'll read it, and I'm excited to read it. Something I saw, which I think you should really watch. I've been big on TV lately because I haven't been able to get out to the theaters. I watched His and Hers on Netflix. New limited series starring John Bernthal and Tessa Thompson. It's a murder mystery series. It's only 6 episodes. It was really good. Really, I was really invested. I mean, every episode has you questioning who did it. There's no way you're following who did it. You won't know who did it till the end. It's a great, great show. I love a good limited series, man. Good 45-minute episodes is so easy to breeze by while you're kind of doing other stuff, or while you're, just sitting down for an hour or two. You get through 2 episodes. It's nice and easy. And I watched it all in like 3 days. I really recommend it. It's one of those, like, sometimes you watch a murder mystery episode or a show and you're like, yeah, no fucking shit, this person's the bad guy, But this was a really smart show. And it's not often where I think I'll say that it wasn't like this was the killer, we got you, we tricked you. It's there the whole time. Like, if you knew beforehand, you'd be like, oh shit, that's of course it is. And I really love that kind of reveal when you're like, of course, that makes so much sense. Why didn't I see that earlier? So it was really great. His and Hers on Netflix. Definitely go check it out if you got some time. Every episode you're literally like, oh, it's this person. No, that's gonna be this person, because the reveals and the new information that you get and the characters are great. John Bernthal never says, let me tell you something, man, and rubs his head like he does in everything else. But Tessa Thompson's great, and they have great chemistry too. So definitely check out His and Hers on Netflix.
Yeah, well, hey, limited series until it does popular, it does well enough that they renew it for another fucking season. But,
I don't know. The way it ended, I don't know.
They would have said that about White Lotus, and then they're like, oh, more White Lotus.
True,
so,
fair.
But no, anyway, that sounds interesting. I love me a limited series, man. So I have to look into it. Something that I saw, it's a dual package because it's carrying over from last week's C, and that's the 2 Richard Linklater films that came out last year, Blue Moon and Nouvelle Vague. Okay. I watched both of them in the last week. Blue Moon is nominated at the Oscars, Ethan Hawke, and Best Screenplay. Nouvelle Vague, not nominated, but it was nominated at the Golden Globes. They were both 8 out of 10s, really impressive films. Blue Moon is essentially, it takes place all in one night. And it's about the legendary real-life lyricist, Lorenz Hart. It's kind of in the twilight of his life and his career, suffers from alcoholism, and the whole thing takes place in a bar. It's a movie that takes place entirely in one setting. And he's basically kind of dealing with his life and his relationships, while his former collaborator, the great Richard Rodgers, you've probably heard of Rodgers and Hammerstein at some point, like the musical duo. They created like The Sound of Music and shit. They're celebrating the premiere of their big hit Oklahoma, which I'm sure you've heard of that musical. And
it's the only thing I heard about Oklahoma ever, actually, the state. So it's just the musical.
So, again, it takes place all in one setting. It's really Linklater at his strongest, where he is good at kind of just having an introspective examination of the human experience is a good way of putting it.
That is a good way.
And doing it through the lens of these real people who really lived and had these experiences. Ethan Hawke is as advertised. I'm not going to lie. I would love to see him win the Oscar. It's not going to happen.
But he was that good?
He was that freaking good. This is one of the best performances of his entire career, hands down.
Do you think he should win the Oscar?
I mean, Timothy is obviously brilliant in Marty Supreme. Either one of them should win it. I'll be honest.
Okay.
Either one of them.
So you have
him
above Leo's performance.
Yes.
Okay.
I love Leo in one battle after another, but Ethan Hawke right now, I even have Michael B. Jordan above Leo at this point. So Leo is actually my 4th out of 5 in that category now, but Ethan Hawke, my God, what a performance. And the rest of the cast is really good too. And then the other one, Nouvelle Vague, this is the first film that he ever did in a different language. It's in French. Basically, it's about the legendary filmmaker Jean-Luc Godard, and his the production of the film that he made, Breathless, and it basically chronicles that craziness of that production. No script. Basically, what this guy was doing, Godard, was changing the rules of filmmaking and cinema, both as artists and as audiences. And this was really the kickstart of the French New Wave, which is one of the most impactful, monumental eras of cinema history that we still see play out in work today, and relevance in a lot of films that we see today. Without Godard, without Breathless, and look, I watched Breathless too, not my favorite movie of all time, but you can see the movie really speaks for itself, the importance and the uniqueness of it. And so for Linklater to kind of chronicle this, the creation of this and the upcoming of the era, that's what Nouvelle Vague even stands for, is the French New Wave. And so, I mean, you know, I highly recommend people to go home, study up on some film history, learn about this time period. It was a monumental piece of cinema history, and seeing this film was pretty interesting. So that is two things I saw, just a dual package from last week.
Yeah, Linklater.
And then something I want to see, I'm cheating a little bit. It's season 3 of Shrinking. And the reason why I say I'm cheating is because I actually watched the first episode already.
I think I did the same thing last week.
It's really... Did you?
I think I watched the first episode and said my C is something I'm excited for.
I want to see the rest of the season.
I think I did that.
I think you're right, actually. I didn't even think about that. No, I want to see the rest of the season. I watched the first episode. It was incredible.
How great was that episode, dude?
It was so great. I mean, the Michael J. Fox cameo, and I'm excited to hopefully see him throughout the rest of the season. This is probably one of the best shows on television right now.
I totally agree. I just watched the 4th episode today.
I've only seen the first. I'm gonna catch up, for sure now, because I'm finally done with Fallout. I guess I could say that as my sob as well. But that means I had time to start Shrinking season 3. And man, this show is just so raw and real, and it deals with emotions and grief in an upfront way that other shows just aren't doing. And so I love it. Harrison Ford this is maybe some of the best work of his career.
I totally agree. This is one of my favorite shows of all time already. I love it.
It's great. And
I just started it a month ago.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see where it goes. So that is technically my C. I saw the first episode, but I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's funny. I really love Ted Lasso, and I really love the studio, but when I watched them, I was like, these are really good. These are amazing. But when I watched Shrinking, I was like, fuck, how was I not watching this earlier? That is my favorite of the Apple TV stuff. I know you like the studio probably the best, but
I think the studio is their best work
for me.
But I can respect the Shrinking opinion for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to get on that, man. You're gonna fucking love the rest of the season.
I'm on my way. I started it. So,
and I think the season 3 premiere is one of the best of the whole season, of the whole show.
I agree, and probably like the season 2 finale.
Yeah.
Those are probably those are probably 2 of my favorite episodes of the show. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. All right, cool. Thank you guys for watching. This was a fun episode. Thank you for commenting the film Bible numbers, the Bible study numbers. Keep them commenting, keep the numbers coming. Josh got the book right there. You know, like, follow, subscribe at Box Office Dynasty. We're on everything: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. Fucking Apple. No, we're not on Apple TV.
Apple TV,
Apple Music. We're on Apple Music. Any last words, bitch?
Like I say, share with your friends and fellow film lovers. We appreciate everyone. And while we go, I'm gonna just check my hair real quick.
Check yourself out. You
check my beard.
Oh, you know what? Before we leave, how many followers do we get on TikTok for me to shave my head? What do you think would be like an actual good number?
Considering we lose followers most weeks, if we get to 10,000, you're shaving your head.
10,000? We're already at like 5,200.
Dog, and we lose followers. We go backwards.
When we stop posting for like a couple of days, we lose like 2 or 3 followers.
Or if we post something that people don't agree with, and like, why the fuck do I follow this page?
Which is more often than not.
Yeah, it's your film score list.
Maybe like if we ever got like 20,000 followers, I'd shave my head.
Hair grows back, bro. Hair grows back.
That's true. That's fair. I would do it for a set amount. So you know what? Fucking tell your friends. Get us to a certain amount of followers. I'll shave my head.
Yeah, Jack will take a look right here. You know?
Yeah. Yo, is that porn on your computer? Oh wait, no, it's just me. Never mind.
My bad. Dude, you kind of look like Mr. Negative or something.
Yo, you kind of look like Johnny Sins.
Okay. All right. That's it for today.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.